Well, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy midweek. And whew, boy, we got a lot to talk about here today on the program.
Oh, you're not kidding. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Whew,
I was when I was in college, I was this is what my diploma entails. English literature and political science.
Oh,
How did my parents let me do? And anyway, did that. So I like observing. I mean, I love watching a ball game. I love participating. I'm a big participant, but I like observing. I'll watch a ball game, and my political science, I like to kind of watch people.
sure.
And so we had a nice dinner, my wife and I. We watched a little PBS for a while. Then we said, well, we'll see what's going on out there. And it was a big one last night. In an election near and dear to John's heart, Missouri voters have approved the legalization of sports gambling. An amendment allows for licensed sports wagering, including online betting for individuals 21 and over. Whew. Yeah,
Well,
there you go,
glad
John.
to see other states are progressive and doing things of that nature. I did see, Barry, the marijuana amendment in Florida got shot down. Not that I have any interest in that, but just was curious how that was going to go. It did kind of surprise me a little bit, but
Me too.
no
Me
need
too.
in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, so there you go. I see this morning, and I don't normally read Danny's tweets because they're usually about just one thing over and over, but I'll read this one from Danny. He says, glory, glory, hallelujah, glory, glory, hallelujah. What a wonderful day. And immediately I looked, and Hugh Freeze didn't get fired. He's still the coach.
Man, so, Danny, good job, my man. Yeah. I believe
you had me there for a second, Danny.
Or maybe his Dreamland Pick 3 gift card arrived. Maybe
that's gotta be.
Happened. So Hugh Freeze is still employed. The last I checked.
Weird.
And we've got a new employer in the White House, but we'll get into that later. But man, it is a lot happening here on the show. We got a lot going on. My man Mike Griffith from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Dog Nation's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. Some big games to talk about. Obviously, Georgia at Ole Miss. That doesn't happen very often. The Rebels and the Bulldogs don't seem to play very often, but they're playing Saturday. That could go a long way to determine maybe where some people are in the college football playoff that was released last night. I did see a little bit of that, and it's interesting where everybody's stacked up 1 through 12.
Now, I didn't watch a bit of it. It doesn't mean anything, not this early, but here are the high points. Out of the top 25, and again, why they go to 25, I don't know. They want to keep, some of the school's fans kind of invested in the process. Out of the top 25, the SEC has 8. The Big 12 and the ACC has 5. The Big 12 has 4. The Big 10 has 4. The Big 10 has half the number of teams that the SEC. Oregon's number 1. Ohio State is number 2. Georgia is number 3. And Miami is number 4. Texas is on the outside.
Yep.
Looking in. Indiana at 9-0 is well on the outside. They're number 8. Alabama at number 11. I don't know what it is or why, but everybody had said Alabama at 11. I'm not that smart to be able to figure out, this is a 10. This feels like a 12. Maybe this is a 17 to me. Everybody said Alabama 11. And they're 11.
They are 11.
Still got a chance. Now,
but you're going to win. I mean, you're right, Barry. What happened last night really doesn't matter if you don't take care of business Saturday night in Baton Rouge. Same thing for LSU. They're out looking in, not even in that poll. But, just a good kind of barometer. I thought it was interesting. Alabama and Texas were matched up in the first poll that was released last night. How about that? 2 SEC teams going at it, Bama on the road. I thought was interesting if that does play out. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot that's got to happen between now and that final poll, and winning is certainly the most important thing, particularly if your teams like Alabama, LSU, You're just scratching and clawing, trying to stay relevant. So it'll be fun to see how that plays out. And I guess, Barry, I mean, and we'll ask Griff. He's standing by. He's in the holding room. We'll pop him in. You know, is winning enough for Alabama? If they win out, are they in? I mean, people seem to think that. But I don't know. We'll ask him. Mike Griffith of the AJC and Dog Nation joining us here today on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Griff, always good to have you on, my friend. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Good. How's the purview from the kitchen table about the college football playoff last night? Any real surprises? Who's in a good position and who got rooked in the whole deal?
It's about what I thought. I mean, you know, they're going to evaluate. You know, having the two Big Ten teams at the top was interesting. You know, I was on the conference call last night and I asked them about the strength of schedule stuff. You know, they talked about how not all wins and losses are created equally. And, but at the same time, Ward Manuel said that the conference affiliation wouldn't be taken into consideration. Well, you know I was splitting hairs, but when we talk about Georgia and Ohio State was what I shrunk it down to. And they basically said Ohio State had a better loss than Georgia, that the Oregon loss was a better loss than Georgia's loss against Alabama. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you look at it. You know, it's subjective. I don't know. Do you give more credit to a team that came back and took a lead or a team that didn't manage the clock properly? You know, I mean, there's a lot of way. And oh, by the way, you know, this is based on Oregon being number one. You know, what about Georgia beating a number one Texas versus number one Oregon? You know, or in this case, Ohio State's win over Penn State on the road. I would argue that Georgia's win at number one Texas was more impressive than you know, Reese Davis, you know, said Georgia's had some fits and starts. What do you make of that? And my reaction was about what I made at Nebraska, about Nebraska almost beating Ohio State at home. I mean, if Ohio State played the schedule Georgia played, would they have fits and starts? I mean, when Georgia played Kentucky, they were pretty good. That Kentucky team beat Ole Miss. A lot of it's when you catch these teams. So, you know, what we know is that none of it really matters. The only thing at this point that you look at is, you know, I guess my immediate take here, my immediate concern is you got a Big Ten guy that's a chairman. And the first rankings come out, and there's two Big Ten teams at the top. And you go, okay.
You know, Griff, the thing that really stood out to me, though, was the schedule strength. And they showed that on the screen, all the graphics and schedule strength. Georgia has the number one schedule, Alabama at number 11. I mean, there were a lot of teams on that board that had schedule strengths in the triple digits.
Well, I know that they can elevate the importance of one metric over another to their advantage or disadvantage, or they can tell us that schedule strength is going to matter up front. But clearly, when it came to measuring Georgia against Ohio State, that wasn't the determining factor, right? They shrunk it down to the best loss and the most consistent team, which is why I asked about the conference schedule strength. I mean, I think it's more easy to be consistent in the Big Ten than it is to be consistent in the SEC, if that makes sense. Like I said this on Nashville radio yesterday, and I could be really wrong, but give me Vanderbilt over Indiana.
How'd that go over?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was on a national radio station, so it was fine. But if you told that to the people in Indiana who don't think they're getting enough respect because they're blowing out nobodies, I mean, the good news is Indiana's going to play Ohio State in a couple of weeks, and we'll find out.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of football to be played, a lot to shake out. That's why I didn't want to overreact. And, you know, while I was listening carefully, if they wanted to justify Georgia over Ohio State, they could have said Georgia had a better win. But the one psycho-analyzing element for me was Big Ten guy, chairman, first poll, they show their first hand, and it's Ohio State over Georgia. And so do they value the Big Ten more than the SEC at this juncture of the season? I guess that would be my question. And when you say they, we're talking about a collective effort of 13 people. Could that change in the room? Absolutely. Could Georgia leapfrog Ohio State if they beat Ole Miss on the road and Ohio State beats Purdue by 30? Sure. But there's really not a lot to take from it other than, you know, if I were a fan right now and was just tuning in to the 12-team playoff, the first thing is understanding it, right? The rankings don't equate to the seedings, and that's really hard for people to wrap their brain around. Well, wait a minute, these are the seedings, but that doesn't match the rankings. Why is that? Well, you got to wrap your brain around that there can only be one team from a conference in the top 4,
right?
Which is why Ohio State's 2 in the rankings, but the number 5 seed. That can confuse people, right?
Right.
It's almost as if they put Boise State at 12 so they could avoid the whole confusion if they were 18 and explain. So I'm like, let's not overload, let's not blow their brains out. And then the next thing is to understand where the teams are going to play. Why does Georgia go to the Sugar Bowl, right? Why would the Oregon bracket be in the Cotton Bowl if they were the number 1 team, right? To understand the philosophy and how they apply this model to the bracket. That's also hard to wrap your brain around because it's all brand new. And I think it's going to take 2, 3, 4 weeks, even before the SEC Nation, which is the most educated out there, the majority of people will understand it because there's a lot of intricacies and quirks to the 12-team playoff.
And you look at the path ahead for Georgia. Already here in what will be the second Saturday in November, Georgia plays their final road game of the year. They've got Ole Miss on the road, and then the last 3 at home, 2 of them out of conference that don't even factor into conference play. Set this challenge up for us and what's ahead.
I mean, I think listening to Kirby Smart last night, who typically doesn't say a whole lot, and didn't again, he doesn't worry about stuff like this. But I thought it was interesting that he said, you look at what the number 12 team has to do. That's Kirby saying, sure, he wants to win the SEC, but just get in the playoff. I'm not saying he's punting anything or acknowledging they're going to lose any games, but I think this weekend is a really dangerous game. I mean, I really do. I mean, all signs point to Ole Miss. If you look at the momentum, if you look at even the health of the players, there's a chance Georgia may be without ETN, the receiving course. Then I think right now, if you offered Kirby Smart a guaranteed spot in the playoff versus what's behind door number 1, he would take the guaranteed spot in the playoff just because of the injuries. And, Tennessee's going to come to Georgia, and I don't know what Tennessee we're going to get. I think that's a program that's got more left in the tank. I don't think we're seeing the best Tennessee yet. And Georgia Tech has proven that they can give Georgia problems. I mean, last year was a 1-score game, and it can be an ugly game. I mean, they get up for that game. That's all Georgia Tech has left to play for, right? And that's dangerous. So, and then the SEC championship game. Another thing we learned. You say to yourself, well, what happens if you go to the SEC championship game as a 2-loss team and you lose? Is there a chance that a 2-loss SEC team that didn't play in the conference championship game could move ahead of you? Will you be penalized for playing in the SEC championship game? And the answer was, it depends on how you play, which means, yes, you can be penalized if you go there and lose to a really good team when the other team sits out and doesn't have to face them. So that was a fear and a concern about this system, is that if you lose in the SEC, it's double jeopardy. Not only do you lose stock in the rankings, but you also have a short turnaround to play in that first round game where that team you play may not have played in their conference championship game and has an extra week of rest. So
and we talked about that.
Yeah,
we talked about that in media days out in Dallas. It was brought up. I mean, you could play in the SEC championship game and have to end up playing more and be the loser and end up playing more games than a team that didn't have to play in your conference title.
Well, I don't want to upset anybody in Alabama, but that's pretty much what happened in 2017. And on top of it, Georgia got shipped out across the country, meaning 1 day less of rest, and had to play a better Oklahoma team than Alabama played against Clemson in the Sugar Bowl.
Mike Griffith joining us here from the AJC and Dog Nation. You brought it up. We heard a lot about Lane Kiffin. Had a great team, playoff potential. They've already dropped a few. Can't lose this one. To me, Griff, I mean, it's a pressure game, but to me, more pressure's on Lane Kiffin. He needs to deliver against a big opponent And he's beaten some teams, but he needs to beat a big boy, and Georgia certainly is the biggest of them in this league.
It is, but it's not 2021 or 22 Georgia, right? And it's not last year's Georgia. He's playing a Georgia team that could be missing their feature back or have their feature back limited and be down to a freshman back, walk-on tailback, a receiving core that's got two of their top three talented receivers suspended or dismissed for the domestic off-field issues. The Mississippi State transfer, Ra Thomas, would have been their starting X. Colby Young was brought in from Miami. So you're playing a team, right now, this is as depleted as I've seen Georgia probably since 2019.
But also amongst the known commodities, it's not the 2023 Carson Beck either. I mean, 11 interceptions, Mike. What's the difference if there is something on?
Well, there is a difference. I mean, you can't escape the fact that Brock Bowers was a generational talent. I mean, this guy got open and made a lot of yards after the catch, and it really pumped up a lot of numbers. I mean, I don't mind telling you, I don't think Stetson Bennett would be in the NFL if he didn't have Brock Bowers to throw to, or Ladd McConkey, a guy. I think a lot of people didn't realize just how good Ladd was. Now, I did, particularly when Brock went down and Kirby stood up there and said nobody can replace Brock Bowers, and then Ladd went out there the next week and had 150 or 160 yards receiving against Florida. And when he was and you see what he's doing, he's probably on some NFL fantasy football teams right now starting, right? I mean, these aren't just guys that made it in the NFL. These are impact players as rookies. So you take away his two top targets. And then you dig a little deeper and you look at the NFL draft projections. Well, for the first time in a long time right now, you don't see a Georgia offensive tackle among the top 10 draft picks at the tackle position. They're not as good there, right? Then you look in the backfield, and we're talking about a team without Trevor Etienne potentially. He didn't play after the second quarter with a rib injury, and you're playing a true freshman running back and a walk-on running back. That's not James Cook, Zamir White, and Kenny McIntosh, three NFL running backs. So you strip the guy. When we say, well, what's the most important thing for a quarterback to have? You start out with protection, right? Doesn't have elite tackles. Then you talk about targets. Doesn't have elite targets. Then you say a really good running game. Doesn't have an experienced backfield. Now flip it over. Your defense is good, but it's not dominant. So all of a sudden, that defense isn't getting you the ball right back after a 3 and out. And when you get the ball back, you're not starting out at your own 40, right? And because of all these things and the increased parity in the league, you're not playing with a 2-3 touchdown league. A lot easier to be efficient as a quarterback when you're playing with a 2 or 3 touchdown lead and your coordinator gets to pick and choose when he throws the ball versus when you're down to Alabama by 4 touchdowns or trailing Kentucky for almost the entire night or locked into a battle with Florida that's not decided until the final 3 minutes. So there's a lot of variables. And then on top of it, so those are the practical things. Those are the real things. And then you have kind of the perception things, right? Carson Beck is the poster child for NIL bonus babies. He did it to himself, not taking the money. Taking the money's fine.
Yeah.
But posting the picture of the Lamborghini, posting the picture of the golf trips in the off season, posting the steak dinners and the private jet flights. And
he's on billboards all over Atlanta. I'm driving through Atlanta. He's on billboards everywhere.
Well, being on billboards certainly raises the kid's identity and his people being aware of him. But putting those non-football things on social media creates a perception that his priority is not on football. If I'm a quarterback, I'm putting up videos and pictures of me sweating with the guys in the summer. I'm sending that message that, hey, we're working hard, not I'm spending my riches. And now the fact is, Carson might have put in every bit as much time in the offseason as he ever did before. But by choosing to post those non-football things, it appears that this is a kid that's fallen victim to the pitfalls of having money. And to be honest and real with you, I think part of the reason we're seeing more inconsistency in college football in general is the NIL money. I mean, let's be honest, guys. If you've got a Lamborghini SUV, and if, for say, you were dating an Instagram model somewhere, and all of a sudden you have the riches to go wherever you want, to eat whatever you want, would that not take away a little bit of that time when and again, I'm not saying that, you starve these guys and make them work, but would you be less inclined to spend that extra 2 hours in the film room, or call that extra throwing session, or stay back in Athens that weekend and try to get the guys together for one more work? And that's not, again, I don't think that's just happening at Georgia. I think that's everywhere.
I do too.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sure. Hey, Griff, before we let you go, I did want to get your thoughts about how do you envision Sunday morning being in Baton Rouge or Tuscaloosa for the losing team Saturday night?
I mean, it's hard to say. Some teams have done a better job. South Carolina, for example, the fact that this is a 3-loss team, they could have cashed it in and said, well, we're not going to make the SEC championship game or the playoff. And they go out there under the lights and put one on the team that I thought was playing the best in the SEC. That tells me a lot about the culture that Shane Beamer's built there. Billy Napier, I joked, I do the Steve Spurrier first-year Coach of the Year award. And we always recognize the best first year, which Beamer and Heupel once won, but beside the point. And we added a Legend Award a couple of years ago where we recognize a legend coach at this award ceremony. And I joke with Spurrier that if Napier keeps his job, we're going to have to add the Billy Napier Comeback Coach of the Year award. And let me tell you, the way the Gators played against Georgia was inspiring. Now, can they do that with a third-string Ivy League transfer quarterback at Texas? I don't know. Was that their last shot? Is this team going to start coming apart? Because now we're at the part of the season where you're going to start to see some teams that have NFL players that are saying, all right, I'm out. I'm getting ready for the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Which coaches have a culture strong enough to get their kids to finish? And this is another thing. If I'm an athletic director, that I'm going to evaluate a coach on is, whether or not this guy's, Mike Norvell clearly hasn't been able to maintain a culture, right? Didn't last year.
Yep.
That was a red flag. Unfortunately, there were some in the media that instead of focusing on how Georgia and Kirby Smart kept their culture together and kept their NFL players playing in a bowl game, that should have been the story. That, hey, yeah, this NIL is distracting, but if you build the right culture and you stress the right things, this is how you beat the potential pitfall of kids. But instead, all the focus was, boo-hoo, Florida State got left out instead of, and it's understandable why these guys would quit. Let me tell you, if you guys found out that your producer was sick today and one of you guys would have to work the boards, would you not show up for work? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a mentality, and not to make this bigger than it is because it's the day after the election, but I don't want to say anything about any political in any way, but I will tell you that I think part of our cultural issues is that people have gotten away from accountability, personal accountability, just in general. And I think there's a trickle down. And my hope is in college football, at least, that, like when I heard Hugh Freeze, I was encouraged a few weeks ago when he said, I asked him the question, he said, I need to get these guys playing with more confidence. And I said, well, how do you do that? And he said, and I asked him about NIL and concerns about guys transferring if they don't start or if you coach them too. And he said, you know what, we've decided that we're going to coach like we know how. And if these kids can't handle it, these aren't the kind of kids we want anyway. That needs to be across the country. The coaches need to say, look, this is football. And if you're not signed up for the way we do it, now those kids need to see redeeming value in that, right? At Georgia, they go, well, Kirby's been doing it a long time, gets a lot of guys to the NFL, so I'm going to buy into what the coach is saying. If the coach doesn't have the buy-in, he's not as likely to convince these guys to play for nothing in their opinion. If it's not a playoff spot, it's not valuable to them, which, again, if you found out that your show wasn't nominated to be the best show in Alabama, does that mean that you don't give the same effort, right? So that's when I talk about personal. Now I'm sounding like Nick Saban. You got to have a self-standard.
Yes. But you're right, and it's interesting to talk about that, and something we're going to talk about with you later on in the year, because I think we are at the time of the season where if you're not having the success that you were expecting, you may be dialing it back. How do people get in touch with all of the content you have at Dog Nation and with AJC?
Yeah, dognation.com. I do a Monday night show called On the Beat that's on our Dog Nation YouTube channel, dognation.com. We're an affiliated site with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Some of my work appears there, and AJC.com. We do an SEC Power Poll every week that I think is pretty insightful. I got some pretty good dudes from around the Southeast, and as you know, a couple panelists, female panelists that have every bit as much insight and great opinions. I'm a big Heather Dinich fan. I think she does a phenomenal job. So just to be clear, there's a lot of good analysts out there. I've got a lot of those analysts that do this poll, and then I'll ask them poll questions from week. A couple of weeks ago, I asked who was the midseason MVP. That's hard to sort out.
Okay.
Did you realize that before last week, Carson Beck had the best odds among all the SEC players to win the Heisman? He was only sixth. It was kind of strange not to see an SEC person in the top 5 of the Heisman favorites, but I would suggest that has more to do with the parity in the league, and leading to my question about the value of losses. Again, Oregon looks pretty good right now, but they only beat Boise State by 3 points
at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
Right? Good
That's
stuff,
awesome.
Mike. We appreciate it.
We always appreciate it. Yep. We'll do it again soon. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Thank you, man. Great insight from Mike Griffith of Dog Nation and the AJC to kick things off this morning. Man, we're rolling here on Longshore and McKnight. Of course, we've partnered up with Yellowhammer News. We've been telling you about it. Check them out at yellowhammernews.com. And of course, they're all over social media. Check them out on X, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, it's there.
Yep.
If I missed something, I'm sure it's still there as well. They are everywhere. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with Yellowhammer News. As a matter of fact, you'll see some write-ups about Longshore and McKnight in the afternoons at Yellowhammer News. So make sure you check that out along with all of their other great content. And Barry, I got to think today with the election results from last night, Yellowhammer's got a lot of info for you right there on the political landscape as well.
Yeah, a lot of things from the state of Alabama for sure, and on a national scale as well. Kind of like what we do in sports with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, simulcast Thoroughbred, and Greyhound Racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, Exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air has teamed up for the 4th year with the Food Bank of East Alabama and Montgomery Area Food Bank in an effort to reduce the high percentage of food insecurity within the Montgomery and Auburn communities. For every new Dixie Cares Plan membership that is purchased, Dixie will be donating 7 meals to partnered food banks. Last year alone, Dixie donated 13,356 meals. Our goal for 2024 is 15,000. Thank you for choosing Dixie and for helping us make a difference within our community.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Almost to the bottom of the hour on this Wednesday. And Barry, Man, free play at Victoryland. Well, it started early today. They kicked it off at 3 a.m. today. I guess it's the post-election free play starting up at Victoryland, but you can catch it again. It'll start in about an hour at Victoryland with free play sessions this morning, again this afternoon, and again tonight. So there are plenty of opportunities for everyone to take advantage of the free play opportunities at Victoryland, where you can be a winner too.
It's Longshore and McKnight. Like we mentioned, we got a lot going on today already. Mike Griffith from Dog Nation. A little bit later on, Stephen M. Smith from Touchdown Alabama. Normally at this time, we bring you our Phoenix Physical Therapy medical segment. Not this week, though. We're going to save that for next week. We've got loads of items and topics we're gonna carry over to next Wednesday with Robert Kahn and Brent Vincent and all those guys. So not today, but we've got lots of other content, believe me.
You know, maybe Robert just needed to do a little research today, Barry, because I asked him, I said, can we talk about groin injuries? You know, and I know that's a sensitive area. People don't really know
specifically
it's a sensitive
area
we're talking about. But no, he's on top
subject.
Of it.
Okay.
He just pop up today, and we said no problem. We'll certainly do it next Wednesday. So look forward to that. Our Phoenix Physical Therapy Medical Rehab segment. We'll bring that back next week. So
I never had a groin pull. I've never, but I know people who have had. I mean, I'm around student athletes all the time, and it's still. I've never asked this. We don't clamor with Robert or with Brent. Hey, can we talk about groin pulls? Hey, what about those groin pulls? Kind of like Chris the Bammer with spin the wheel, or Danny with freeze. But do girls get groin pulls?
You know, I've never thought about that.
I'm just our subjects today were supposed to be groin injuries. And, injuries that are maybe more prevalent with females than with males. There are certain things that male athletes and the male general population are susceptible to, maybe more so than females are.
Well, Barry, that would be a great question. I'm not sure. I don't know. I will answer your question. Yes, I've had several groin pulls back in the day. When you're charting plays and sending in signals, you got to be on your feet. And sometimes you can make a move that'll kind of tweak that groin area. The worst thing that can happen, though, before there was Icy Hot and Ben Gay and Salon Paz and all that stuff, there was something called Atomic Bomb.
Yeah, it still is. It still is. In Revenge of the Nerds, that's what Takahashi put in all of the jock straps of the Adams College Adams. Ogre was trying to sit there and listen to what the coach's pep talk, and he was like, okay, sorry. Anyway. Yeah.
So you got to be careful. And I wasn't, in my younger days, I put a little atomic bomb on that groin pull, but it got a little close to another area.
Goes a long way.
So you kind of have to lay a towel to kind of have a little buffer zone, if you will, so even the fumes from the atomic bomb can get you. So you got to be really close or careful when you put the atomic bomb on a groin pull. It's got to know what you're doing.
Look, we realize we're knuckleheads. This is about as far as John and I go in our Phoenix Physical Therapy medical segment. Be a little sparse with the atomic bomb. That's Dr. Longshore, Dr. McKnight. This is our sports medicine day. Hey, watch out for that stuff. You don't want to use too much.
Yeah. Woo. All right, let's get some chats going today. I want to hear what you think. Danny says it will be freezeless today. Danny is not going to talk about
Hallelujah. I mean, I don't mind Danny. I don't, but it's the same thing all over again. I don't mind Chris the Bammer saying spin the wheel, and what does PM have to say 100,000 times? I don't know. Maybe he gets off the keyboard and he's like, and if it makes him happy, that's fine. But
speaking of P, I think I've read this before. building a college football program can be painful. I know I've read this before, at least sometime in the last 4 seasons, the 4 losing seasons in a row. I got to think PM has written this before. Maybe not the same headline, but that sounds very familiar. I've yet to read it, but I got a feeling when I start getting into the middle of it, I'm going, yeah, sure, okay, I've read this before.
This is the way our popular culture is. What do we have nowadays, just in the last 20 years or so? Remakes of Charlie's Angels, remakes of Batman, remakes of all these things. Right. Hey, so-and-so is covering this song made popular by Lips Inc. in 19... all that kind of stuff.
Oh, Funky Town.
Yeah. That's what Philip's doing. He's going back. He's going back, looking in his files, his paper files, up in the broom closet. Hey, this one I wrote when Barfield was there. I can go ahead and just rewrite it a little bit, and there it is. In other words, everything he's written, John, he's written before,
I think you might be right about that. I think you might be right. Now, I will tell you, folks, I did kind of fall asleep a little bit last night. I think the little lady was watching the results or something, and then she fell asleep. Next thing I know, I got to turn the TV off at like 1 a.m. So I really don't, I know who's won. I don't know how it all played out. So I can't really talk about that today. But nonetheless, I'm glad everybody went out and voted. Bear, I understand the numbers were really big. A lot of people went out there. Obviously, people wanted some change, and they went out and let their voices be heard at the polls. I was over at Cloverdale Junior High School, which, of course, is now part of Huntington College and part of their campus. Very good, large group of people there voting when I went. Glad to see that as well. I will say this, Bear, will report, they've changed some things around in the gym from back in my day. So
the backboards are now glass.
They are glass. I did notice that yesterday. They do have fiberglass backboards. I think they've redone the floor because there used to be a little soft spot in it. You go on a fast break and that ball wouldn't bounce back all the way up to you.
Unfortunately, maybe not just in Montgomery, but unfortunately, the backboards are glass, but not a lot of the windows are, or not enough of them. So anyway,
you ain't kidding.
Just an observation.
What do you say? We got to catch up a little bit. I know Chris the Bammer says enough of groin pulls. Spin the wheel. When we get back, we're going to spin the 777 topic wheel.
Yep, and when do the Obs play and all that? We got it. It's Longshore and McKnight Wednesday show presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Hi, this is Benji with Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, this is the time to shop. The holidays will be here before you know it. Our cases are slam full, so take advantage and lay away for Christmas now. We have a full repair shop and design shop, so if you dream it, we can make it for her. And if you need any repairs, we have an in-house master jeweler. At Marguerite's, we make it. We really make it. At Marguerite's, we are open 7 days a week. Come see us at the Preparatory Shopping Center, 8163 Vaughn Road, Montgomery, Alabama, right by Chappie's.
Hey, this is Barry.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stivers CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where Price sells cars and trucks on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. All right, we're back at it here, about 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Glad you're with us. As Barry mentioned, Mike Griffith joined us to kick the show off from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Dog Nation. Big games this week. Talked about the college football playoff poll that was released last night. Yeah, the thing about it, Barry, it's an hour-long show. You only need to watch about 10 minutes of it, because when they reveal the poll, then that's all you need to know. I don't really care what the guys have to say about who fell here and there and whatever, because we got so much to do between now and when the last official poll is released.
The first one doesn't mean anything. Why they have the first one is beyond me. Maybe maybe 3 at the very end, when we get down to the end of the regular season or close to the end of the regular season, and then after the conference championship games. That's all you need. Because right now, for me, listening to Desmond Howard talk about how Indiana is poised, in November, they can lose out and they won't even be in the top. I'm with John. If you have to give me anything, just give me the Cliff's Notes version of that. The other stuff is just talking.
Yeah,
So.
You're right about that. All right, what do you say? Krista Bammer is chomping at the bit for the wheel to get spun. Is that grammatically correct? Do you spun the wheel?
To have the wheel spun.
Yeah. Have the wheel
spin
spun.
the wheel, not spinned.
Yeah, that's a word you don't say very often, spun.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah, not on this program anyway. I saw how John spun that.
Let's get the wheel loaded up at Network Control in Nashville. Gurn Jr.'s getting it ready to go here today. Our Victorland 777.
Have there ever been 2 more favorite words in his life? John's 2 favorite words are Network Control, and his 2 favorite numbers are 8 and 5.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like Auburn.
Yeah, even on a dice table. I love an 8 and a 5. You better believe it, backing that up on the path line. All right, here we go. Spin the wheel. Our Victorland 777 topic wheel. What will come up first today? Oh, good.
Yep.
I got to come up with a lot of different things to talk about Troy. I knew a guy named Troy. His first name was Troy. We called him T. Roy. So I thought, why not? We'll just go with T. Roy today. And, of course, Troy, I was asking Barry before we got on the air today, you guys are hitting the road in basketball this weekend, correct?
Yep. Troy had a big win over Toledo on Monday night in the Sunbelt MAC Challenge at Trojan Arena. One of the highlights of that was the halftime performance by the amazing Slay Deck, the world's, America's oldest daredevil. The amazing Slay Deck, I'm sitting there doing the game. He's got to be pushing 75. John, he stacked up about 14 chairs and did a handstand in the middle of it. I'm trying to do highlights at halftime. I'm sitting there thinking, if that guy face plants on my spotting chart here, I don't know how I'm going to handle that. But everything went fine and everything is whew. So anyway, that happened. Big matchup. And the Trojans win it. They're 1-0.
I've actually seen that guy, Barry, because I like the panda,
the red panda.
The red panda's good, but I've seen this guy with the chairs too, and everybody's in the stands going 20. He falls. I got 20.
I got you. That kind of. And I'm sitting there thinking. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised he can climb 20 chairs, much less stack them, much less do a handstand and everything, and. He's making a living out of it. I'd be retired by now. I would be a retired chair stacker if I was him. But basically, most of the stuff is just, if you like watching him stack chairs, that's fine. But that was kind of cool. Saturday at New Orleans, men's basketball against UNO next week. I don't know what it's going to look like for my participation on this show, because next week, I don't think I'm going to miss anything. Yeah, there's the amazing Slay Deck.
There he is. Yeah. That guy. I'm telling you, you're thinking now, Barry, you got to think at some point in his career, He's doing this, the handstand, the leg split. There's somewhere he's fallen.
Yeah, no kidding. He's not like 10,000 and but yeah, he dresses like one of the sales guys we used to have at the radio station we worked at. And he does that all the time. Yeah, it's the same act. And I mean, it's great and all that, but I don't want to be there the first time it doesn't work out for him.
Yeah, that could be ugly. That could be ugly.
He plays at Arkansas next Wednesday against John Calipari. And I got to drive that trip. So Arkansas, and then get back in time to do the show on Thursday. And then Friday, we're on the road, and I got to go to with football to Georgia Southern. So next week, busy week. The women's basketball team at Troy plays at Alabama on Sunday at 2:00. The women, actually, Troy women play at Montana State tomorrow, and then in Tuscaloosa on Sunday.
So a lot going on with the Trojans, no doubt about it. And I wonder if the Red Panda's coming to Tuscaloosa this year. I might have to go to that game.
Gotta be. She's amazing with those cereal bowls. Chris, the Bammer, we get it, Chris. Calm down. Texting the same thing. Oh, give somebody else a chance to get in instead of, golly, he's got to be at like 16 chats already. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah,
Chris.
I mean, you don't want to spin the wheel too. I mean, you got to give every category its due. Got to give every category its due. All right. Well, Chris is anxious for another spin. Before we get to that, Barry, did a wrestler die? Because Dennis Mitchell is hitting us up on the chat board, or somebody's ill, or maybe something. I want to make sure I'm saying that right.
Let's see. Dennis.
Yeah.
Danny, Chris, Danny, Plainsman, Preston, Danny,
yeah,
Kurt, Chris. This is way. Oh yeah. He says, Dennis Mitchell says, guys, Dutch Mantell is having health problems. Pray for him, please.
Dutch Mantell
is having health problems. Pray for him, please. Yeah. John, who should be the next coach of the Saints? Thank you, Dennis. Lifetime Achievement Award, Lifetime Achievement Caller Mitchell. So there you go.
Dennis,
I don't know. He's not dead, but he's not doing well.
Yeah, Dennis. Here's my deal. Or was that Dennis or Mitchell asking me that?
I was Dennis Mitchell.
Dennis Mitchell. I want to think on that. I want to see how the season plays out. I mean, they play the Falcons this week, and they'll probably beat them, and everybody be all excited. Blah blah blah.
Mickey Loomis, the Falcons GM, was on WWL yesterday, and he says conducting a coaching search right now is not a high priority.
Yeah. I agree. Let's just let the season play out, because anybody you want, Barry, is going to be in the playoffs. So you don't want to hire some guy whose team's 6-10 or whatever. Yeah. So I think they'll just let it play out. You can't tamper, they say, in the NFL. So just hold on. I think we'll get a good guy, but it's a building experience. Barry, the Saints are a lot like Auburn. You got to be patient. That's all I'm saying. The Saints need to recruit a little better in terms of free agency and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because
they need a quarterback too. Yeah,
they do. They got an old roster. They need a quarterback, and they got some cap problems. Okay, all right, Gern, let's load her up. Let's spin the Victorland 777 topic wheel yet again and see what we get. Oh, how about this category?
I have no idea.
Pigskin 5 and 6. I'm trying to come up with creative ways, Barry. We had some college action last night. We got some college action tonight as well. We do not want to overlook the fact that we're still playing college football about every day of the week.
John's got an old heart. I mean, John would have. You ever seen the Nate Bargatze stand-up routine where he talks about, man, if I ever went back in time, I don't think anybody would notice, he said, if I went back to like 1924 and I saw a guy, trying to talk on the phone, says, hey, we have those where I'm at right now. You just walk down the street and he says, well, how does that work? I don't really know. He said, I don't think I'd be able to prove it. I'd go back to 1924 and they'd say, okay, you're from the future. Who's our next president? And he'd be like, ooh, yeah. something like. Anyway, John's that way too. John will use hardwood. He'll use pigskin. He's a big believer in round ball.
Yeah, love that.
If Alf Van Hoos had been a content creator in this day and age, he would have sounded a lot like John. Pigskin 5'6". 5'6", of course, is the date today.
Yesterday and today.
I don't know.
Last night we got 2 games today.
I don't know how many people were watching, but it was Maction last night. Miami of Ohio beat Ball State 27-21. Bowling Green in Ohio beat Central Michigan 23-13. There was another contest that won and covered, but I don't think it was in football. No. Ohio plays Kent State tonight at 6.
Okay.
Kent State is 0-8. What happened to Kent State post Nick Saban?
Wow.
Also, that's on ESPNU tonight. The Bobcats versus the Golden Flashes. Also at 6 tonight on the Deuce. Northern Illinois is a 1.5 favorite over Western Michigan. Northern Illinois, the most significant upset of the season so far. They beat Notre Dame this year.
Yes, they did.
And they're 4-4.
That's exactly right. 4-4. They beat Notre Dame in South Bend. Northern Illinois, Western Michigan on the Deuce. Couple of games tomorrow. We'll tell you about that when we get to the wheel tomorrow. I have a feeling that will be somewhere on the list. But we do have a little college action for you tonight, if that is something that you are interested in. And we will certainly take a peek at that as well. But I looked at some lines. They haven't moved too much. Bama's still a 3-point favorite on the road in Baton Rouge. Man, some of these lines this year have been interesting. We talked about it last week. A&M laying 2.5 to 3 at South Carolina. They're blown out in Columbia. Georgia, just a slight 2.5-point favorite in Oxford Saturday afternoon. Lane Kiffin not happy that it's not a night game, that game day's not there. We'll get over it, Lane. You just better be there when they kick it off at 2:30. I think Kiffin, it certainly would. Look, Kirby Smart's built up enough equity that, if they lose, okay, they're not going to be happy, but nothing drastic's going to happen. But Lane Kiffin bears, all summer long, well, this is a playoff team, best Ole Miss team in a long time. I think he really needs a statement win, and beating Georgia Saturday afternoon, in my mind, would be a huge statement win for Lane Kiffin.
They love him there. He's, they got to put up with some stuff from Lane, but they love him to give him the benefit of the doubt. But, John, they're on the verge of saying, all right, Lane. All right, now, come on. Here we go. We're with you, but give us something. Two other ones that are really kind of odd to me, just on the surface of things. I know South Carolina had a very impressive home win against Texas A&M. They go to Vanderbilt, and South Carolina's a 3.5-point favorite.
Are the Doors going to get any love here?
I don't
come
think
on.
so.
And Barry, the thing that's interesting to me about that line, South Carolina coming off an emotional win.
Spent a lot to get that win. Emotionally spent.
Oh, yeah. Night game, a lot of excitement. They might still be thinking about it and reading their press clippings. And granted, Vanderbilt certainly had some big wins as well. I don't know if last Saturday was a big win, but who knows? So South Carolina might be sleepwalking into Nashville.
Yeah, they're basking in the afterglow, which I heard is a thing. Oklahoma. I didn't realize they're 5-4. They have the feel of like 3-6. Oklahoma at Missouri. Oklahoma is a 2.5-point favorite at Mizzou. That's odd as well.
Yep.
Well,
how about this one, Barry? In our lifetime, I'm sure it might have happened. I'm going to say it hasn't. I'm going to take a chance. I don't think in our lifetime.
In other words, he's saying, I don't know, but I'm going to say it,
I'm going to say it. I'm going to take a shot with this one. I don't think in our lifetime that Indiana has ever been a 2-touchdown favorite against Michigan. I just don't think it's ever happened. Am I going to look
Indiana,
it up? Probably not.
1 year. No. definitely not. I think Indiana 1 year played in the Rose Bowl with I don't know. Indiana is 9-0. They're playing in Bloomington. My sister and brother-in-law bound to be there. Indiana is a 14.5-point favorite over the defending national champion.
Now, Barry, we all know that Indiana played an incredibly spirited Peach Bowl game against Auburn in Fulton County Stadium when Stan White was the quarterback for the Tigers.
34 years ago. That's like when John was in college, expecting him to stay focused when Jerry Duncan is talking about that great Ears Whitworth team or that great Red Drew team of 1950 or something like that. 34 years ago. Yeah. Trent Green was the quarterback at Indiana that day. He's now an NFL analyst as well.
Hey, Barry, when we get back, Stephen M. Smith, touchdown, Alabama's going to join us. And we need to answer this, John, on our chat room. I hadn't really checked in on it, John. He wants to know about the weather in Baton Rouge for Saturday night. We need to find that out today.
Yeah, I'm going to be in New Orleans on Saturday afternoon. I know there's going to be rain in the forecast. I just don't know how much. So we'll let you know. We'll keep you updated on that, John, as it gets a little closer. Our weather models here. We're going to track those as well. Stay with us. Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama, coming up with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
The Electric Plumbing and Air is excited to participate in our annual Catch Me in Pink campaign, raising money for cutting-edge breast cancer research. Last year, we partnered locally with the Joy to Life Foundation and Vera Bradley with several other companies nationally to raise over $28,000. Each week, we are giving away prizes locally in addition to our national grand prize, a tropical trip for two. To enter, simply snap an USSI of you and a pink-clad Dixie employee and enter it on our website. Dixie will donate money for every photo that's submitted, and you will be entered to win big.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody, as we get ready to kick off the second part of our Wednesday edition, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Also, our partnership with Yellowhammer News. We're very excited about that. We launched that, really on Friday, the first of the month, and we're certainly excited to be associated with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. Check them out at yellowhammernews.com. They're on Facebook, they're on X, they're everywhere. You can check them out. And, of course, you'll see features about Longshore and McKnight at Yellowhammer News on a daily basis. And you'll also see and hear a lot of their great writers and personnel from Yellowhammer News on with us here at Longshore and McKnight. So we're very excited about that. And check them out. They got a lot of great content there at yellowhammernews.com.
I've read them for a while, for a good long while and everything. And I'm starting to get into a lot of it's not just Yellowhammer News. There's things like Me and John, there's other programs, other podcasts and stuff. I'm checking them out. Lots of really interesting opinions and insight. They do a bunch.
It really is, Barry. It's incredible the amount of content, the variety from politics to business to faith and culture to sports. You name it, they've got it all, and they do a great job with it. Got some great writers, a lot of great content. So check it out, yellowhammernews.com, and now you'll see Longshore McKnight there as well.
I'm not saying you can't do them both. As a matter of fact, a lot of people do. Just because you consume all the content at Yellowhammer News, and there's a lot. I love the fact that, like we talked yesterday with Ellis Terry, it's not just all statewide stuff. They get into really local stuff, things that really impact you on a local basis. But you can also, if you want, read that and read what looks like it's part one of a 3-part series from Philip Marshall at auburnundercover.com. Part one dropped 15 hours ago, part one of his 3-part series. It says, and it's titled, Building a College Football Can Be Painful. Part 2 tomorrow, Philip will feature Why Water is Wet. On the Friday finale, he will point out that the sky is blue. So but he begins with the real hard-hitting, insightful one, that building a college football program can be painful. You can check out that content as well. John, sometimes sits there first thing in the morning and says, "Ooh, I got to prepare about Auburn." What's Philip got to say?
Yeah,
and then he's good. And he's done.
Been doing it since junior high school. I'll check that out later today. I'll tell you what I check out each and every day, though, is our man Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama. He's joining us here today on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Tide coming off an off week, getting ready to head to Baton Rouge. Stephen M., thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well, my man.
Doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing well. We've got a lot to look forward to, a lot to unpack. Of course, the off week for the Crimson Tide. What do you hope, or what do you expect were the points of emphasis? What do you think they hope to achieve during that off week?
Well, number one, guys, is definitely getting some guys healthy. You've had some guys banged up, nicked up there with some bumps and some bruises. So getting some guys healthy is the number one thing I expect that got done. The number two thing is self-scouting, right? The first half of the season, what did you get wrong that you can correct? Whether it's tackling better, whether it's playing the football better, whether it's intensifying your pass rush, and that's just defensively. Offensively, pass blocking better, trusting the run game more and wanting to establish that. And then also you look at Jalen Milroe, right, and him in the passing game as well as the running game, because against Georgia, that was the best we had ever seen him look throughout his career. And since that game, there's been something off there. Whether he's been lingering with something, maybe it's a hamstring issue, who knows? Just me playing doctor here for a moment, but maybe it's a hamstring. Maybe it's something that he's been dealing with that he's not talking about, the coaching staff not talking about. But then also him in the play calling of Nick Sheridan, got to get back on the same page there. got to get back into a flow there. So some self-scouting things I expect that has been corrected, that's been addressed this week, but then also, being able to get guys healthy. And then how do you go about attacking MSU? This is a team that defensively, they get after the quarterback. They got some great pass rushers, but they have struggled against the run. Texas A&M showed that. South Carolina showed that. Also, how do you go after LSU's offense? Garrett Nussmeier, the best quarterback in the SEC right now, one of the best quarterbacks in college football. How do you attack him? Because of the fact that he's got weapons around him, he's got playmakers. So a lot of things Kalen DeBoer has brought to the forefront during the bye week that I expect Alabama was able to work on.
We talked with you after the Missouri game. I made the point that I just didn't think Jalen looked as explosive. And I'm with you, Stephen M. Something seemed to be bothering him, slight tweak, hamstring, whatever it may be. I think the off week probably for any player on the team came at a good time for Jalen Milroe.
It had to be. It had to be because as I mentioned, this is a guy, the first 4 games of the season was looking unbelievable. I remember after the Georgia game, you had NFL pundits saying this could possibly be the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft. I mean, Mel Kiper Jr. is banging on the table with his coffee and hair gel, talking about this could potentially be the number 1 overall pick. And since that game, he's not looked that way. Vanderbilt, Milroe was okay. South Carolina, 2 interceptions. Tennessee, 2 interceptions. Against Missouri, the first half, it did not look clean. The second half, he started to kind of turn it around, but the bye week came at the right time to, if anything's been ailing him, to get him healthy, but to also get him back confident, not just in the passing game, but also the run game, because he has not been hitting that top speed as we have known to see him hit throughout his career as an athlete. So the bye week for Milroe really came at the most proper time to get him back at 100%.
Stephen M. Smith from Touchdown Alabama. Here's kind of a good story that I want more people to kind of at least look at here. You could probably win a bar bet if you bet somebody if they could name who leads Alabama in sacks right now. It's Q Robinson. And a guy who, he's been patient and he's waited his turn behind some guys. That's a great story, right?
It's an incredible story because Q Robinson came in that 2020 COVID class, right? This is the class where COVID first begins to hit. It's 2020. This is the time where the coaches, they're not getting that chance to really go out there and put their eyes on these kids, right? Because you're starting the social distancing. You're starting the mask mandate. You're not able to go out there and socially gather. So a lot of these coaches are depending on huddle film, right? You're not being able to go out there and really put your eyeballs on these young athletes. You're depending on huddle film. So at this time, Q Robinson comes in a 2020 class that included Will Anderson Jr., that included Chris Braswell, that included Drew Sanders, who eventually transferred, that included Tim Smith. He comes in the 2020 class that included a lot of heavy-hitting names. And then the following class, 2021, whoop, here comes Dallas Turner. So, Q Robinson's in a class with some monsters, and he has to wait behind all of those monsters. Will Anderson, who becomes the number 3 overall pick. Dallas Turner, who becomes a first-round pick. Chris Braswell, who becomes the second-round pick. Drew Sanders, who transfers to Arkansas, but becomes an NFL caliber player. And Q-Rob from Birmingham could have easily transferred. The man sticks around. He builds up his body. He learns the program. He learns the culture. And he recently, a month ago, lost his father. His dad passed away, who was a major part of his life. And to see all of the adversity that Q-Rob has gone through, to lose Nick Saban to retirement, to have to learn from Kalen DeBoer and now Kane Womack as your defensive coordinator. You get a brand new position coach as Christian Robinson is coaching you at outside linebacker. And for Q-Rob to have a season where he's leading you in sacks, he's leading you in tackles for loss, he's one of your top goal getters in quarterback pressures, and he has really come into his own. It's an incredible story when you talk about the guys he's had to wait behind.
And now he's got his chance. It's been a really good thing to see. And he'll be important Saturday.
Oh, he will be. He will, because if you look at it, guys, who was the man who was the man in 2023 to take Jayden Daniels and really give him a big hit in that matchup? That was Dallas Turner, who went in the first round, one of the guys that Q-Rob waited behind. 2021, who was the big factor in that matchup to help Alabama? That was Will Anderson, one of the guys that Q-Rob had to wait behind. So now Robinson's had conversations with Dallas Turner. He's had conversations with Will Anderson. He's had conversations with Chris Braswell. Guys, you were a part of this before you guys went to the NFL. What do I need to know and be prepared for where this game is concerned as a starter? And they have poured into him. But from him watching this game for himself, he knows what to expect.
Oh, yeah, that's great information there. No doubt, Stephen M. Smith, touchdown Alabama. I think it goes without saying, you touched on it, Stephen, the running game has got to be effective for Alabama. LSU knows that. They saw what Texas A&M did to them in the second half. They know Alabama's got a running quarterback in Milroe. But what about the running backs? It's an area all summer long, loaded, just a lot of talent there. But I got to tell you, Stephen M., I need to see more. I just don't think the running game, the running backs have been maybe as effective as I thought they were going to be leading into the season.
Well, John and Barry, that goes to Nick Sheridan. He's got to lean on these guys. The backs are there. And when they've been given an opportunity, they have showed up. You look at Missouri, Justice Haynes, big thundering 35-yard run where he lowers his shoulder, trucks a guy out the way and scores. Jam Miller is averaging over 6 yards a carry. He's shown you what he can do. Against Missouri, we saw an explosive 62-yard run from Richard Young. So he shows you his capability. But this goes back to Nick Sheridan. Can you lean on these guys? Can you lean on your offensive line to wear down LSU's defensive front to get that run game averaging 4 and 5 yards a carry to put you in second and manageable, third and manageable in a hostile environment? How do you defeat a pass rush defense in a crazy environment? You run the football. You control the pace of the game. You take the crowd out of the game, and you tear down the opposition's will by running the football. So here's a moment for Nick Sheridan. You got to lean on these backs. You got to lean on this offensive line led by Tyler Booker and Parker Brailsford up front to trust them. Hey, we're going to trust you guys to take down this LSU front and to take this boisterous crowd who is going to be on its feet all game long. I've been in Death Valley quite a number of times in my career. That is a scary place at night. West Baton Rouge is nothing to play with.
No.
You go down there, you look at Mike the Tiger, you're like, Jesus Christ, what is that? So you got fans that sing these songs in pregame, and their minds go to a whole different place.
And there's drinking, and that's what I hear anyway.
I mean, you got to control that. And the best way to control that, run the football, and you take the air out of them.
Yeah. You're right.
Let's talk. Put some perspective into this. Last night, College Football Playoff Committee rankings, Alabama 11. To you, does that mean anything at all?
It means Alabama is alive. That's what it means. Alabama is alive for the College Football Playoff. Now, what it means is Crimson Tide went out. That's your job right here. You went out. You start off with LSU. You take care of LSU. You take care of Oklahoma the following big-time match. Then you take care of Auburn, most importantly, in the Iron Bowl. So you win out the remainder of your regular season schedule. You do that, and everything holds chalk. You get into the playoff. You will not host a playoff game. You would have to travel for your first playoff game. But at the very least, you're in there, right? That's the main thing. The playoffs show you Alabama's in there. It's got the most impressive win of the season against Georgia. The loss to Vanderbilt is not as terrible as what everybody's made it out to be. Vanderbilt's bowl eligible. I mean, that's crazy to say that, but Clark Lee, what a job he's done.
Woo,
Diego Pavia, what a great get out of a transfer portal. You look at South Carolina. Folks saw that narrow victory is what you beat South Carolina just by 2 points. But look what South Carolina did. You upset Texas A&M, who's a really good football team. So now that narrow win over South Carolina looking pretty good right now because of what they did to Texas A&M. Alabama's strength of schedule, that's what the committee has hung its hat on. Bama in the top 10 in terms of strength of resume. That's why they're at number 11. And if it wins out, it's in the playoff.
I'm with you there, Stephen M. I do think they will be in the playoff if they win out and maybe get some help from some other teams, could move up that playoff ranking, possibly host a game in Tuscaloosa, which would be incredible. And it's interesting, Barry, I've heard from some people that have already gotten some information from Alabama about possible ticket prices for a home playoff game. Wow. It's not your normal ticket price when it comes to hosting a playoff game in the college football playoff.
I'll say this. I will say this. It is going to be different in Tuscaloosa. Bama wins out. They get some help from other teams to lose. They get into that 5 to 8 range, and they host a playoff game. You want to talk about the strip maybe shut down? you want to talk about some roadways that maybe shut down in Tuscaloosa, down the University of Alabama Boulevard? Even for me, and I cover this team, I might need to hop in somebody's backpack just to safely get into the building.
Oh, and if it could only be somebody like Notre Dame coming to Tuscaloosa, Stephen, that would be off the charts. Woo!
Well, we've got a lot of content that is always out there from Touchdown Alabama. How do people get it, Stephen M.?
I mean, they get it by subscribing to touchdownalabama.com. Very simple. You go to touchdownalabama.com right now. There is a subscription tab on the front part of the site. So you click on that. And once you click on that, I mean, my goodness, you got it all right there. You got day-to-day articles right there. You got what is Coach DeBoer saying? What is he wearing that day? Did he sneeze? Did Kane Womack wear another jumpsuit hoodie? I mean, it's all right there. Injury reports, it's all right there. What's the strategy going in between every game? Did Jeff Allen have to tape up the water boy in practice? I mean, it's all right there for you. Videos, content, whatever you're trying to see going on with your Alabama football program that day, it's touchdownalabama.com. You click on that subscription tab. It's right there for you.
Hey, Stephen M., great information as always. Before we do let you go, I did want to get your quick impression. I know it was UNC Asheville, but, man, this Alabama basketball team looks really deep.
It's deep, and I've mentioned this. Nate Oates feels like anybody I put on this floor can score the basketball, whether it's Wright Sale, whether it's Mark Sears, whether it's Grant Nelson, whether it's Big Cliff. It doesn't matter who I put on this floor. These guys can go out there and score it. And the expectation is to win a national championship, get to the Final Four again, but then finish. We saw last year this team got to the Final Four. It ran up on UConn. UConn, a lot of big guys in the paint. Yeah. So what does Alabama do? They go out and they address they go out there and they address the paint in the offseason, getting a guy out the transfer portal and Cliff, recruiting guys as freshmen. So this season, what is Nate Oates' mind on? National championship. We got the team that can do that. So far this season, these guys can score it. I'm looking forward to watching them all year.
Well, it's like Chris the Bammer has said the very last comment on our comment wheel, Stephen M. rocks. We agree, John. That's good stuff. Stephen M., thank you a bunch.
I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the Wednesday.
Yep, you too.
You got it, buddy. We'll do it again real soon. Thank you so much. That's Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama, joining us on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Need to know what's going on in and around the capital city? It's easy. Just go to montgomeryal.gov, a calendar of events, everything going on. Anything you might need to know, it's at montgomeryal.gov.
It's Longshore and McKnight. A little more coming up on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. It's all brought to you by Bud Light.
Is there a certain Ford car, truck, or SUV that piques your interest, but you are not quite sure if it fits into your budget? Or perhaps you want to upgrade your current vehicle, but you absolutely refuse to deal with the same old aggressive and pushy song and dance that is found at the average car dealership? Then Stivers Ford is here to show you a better way. Their knowledgeable and courteous sales staff, the largest Ford inventory in Alabama, and of course, price. At Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Price sells cars. 4000 Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway, or check out their inventory at stiversfordofmontgomery.com.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light, buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar, go to the opposing team's bar. Buy around during the next truck commercial, buy around during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. Alrighty, glad you're with us here on this Wednesday. Always remember, you can check us out whenever it's convenient for you. We're live every weekday from 7 until 9, but we're looping all day long. You can check us out at your convenience. Just check us out on YouTube, on Spotify. We're all over the place. And, of course, at Yellowhammer News, you can check us out there as well. We really appreciate those folks at Yellowhammer News and our partnership with Longshore and McKnight. So there's a lot of ways for you to check out our content on your schedule.
I like it. Sometimes, heck, I'll go back and watch us. We'll have a good guest on, Lugs or Stephen M. or, Brian Matthews or somebody, and I'll go back and I'll check it out. Why not? Also, you can check us out. If you're watching later, for instance, and you say, oh, man, I wanted to bring something up about that. John and Barry were talking about this. You can do it, even though our live chat is from 7 to 9 in the morning. You can always email us, longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com. Anytime you have a thought, an item for the topic wheel, if you want to get your Dreamland Pick 3 picks in, that's always kind of a landing spot throughout the day for any thoughts or constructive criticism you might have on this show, longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com.
Yep, we love it. The Dreamland Pick 3 selections are coming in. We really appreciate that. They start coming in on Tuesday. You can send them in whenever you like. They've just got to be in before the first game on your card kicks off. I mean, if you got 3 NFL games, you can send them Saturday at 8:30 at night. But you better have it in before that first NFL kicks at 12 o'clock on Sunday.
That is true. That is true. Well,
hey, let me ask you this, Barry. Is it true? Was this a fake? Did they roll Toomer's Corner last night?
Yes, they rolled Toomer's Corner last night. And Auburn didn't even play, which was strange. They played tonight. They also, this was kind of the tell from some people. They also sang the national anthem. And all
nice.
that, which is nice. You know,
good for them.
Our national anthem is difficult to sing, but I love it. Rolling Toomer's Corner, and it wasn't, like one or two rolls of the cheap one ply. I mean, it was a lot, and it was the quality stuff. The stuff that. No, see, the bad thing is, as somebody who has been to a Toomer's Rolling before as an observer.
Yeah.
Don't use the good stuff. Don't use the 2-ply quilted, because the next day, think about the next day, those guys from Physical Plant have got to come out there. I think there's usually, I've been there on Sundays driving through town. They get like the fire trucks from the city of Auburn, and you have to fire that stuff out of there. I mean, everybody ain't going up there. You ain't getting guys shimmying up there and picking up the toilet paper. You got to have somebody with those water cannons, normally reserved for Georgia fans.
Yeah,
and you got to fire that stuff out of there. Believe me, if you get the cheap stuff, comes right out. Comes right out. No
can't
problem.
Imagine
that quilted double ply, that'll last.
That I can't imagine the high pressure hoses are really good for those trees.
They're not.
They're not. I mean, I know that weed killer's not good for them. We know that.
No.
Those high pressure hoses.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Which is why you don't roll Toomer's Corner if the women's soccer team wins a non-conference preseason game. Why Auburn High School wins the golf championship. Don't roll Toomer's Corner. Only presidential election. I get it. But just don't use the good stuff. Use the good stuff on yourself. Treat yourself. Yes. Okay. Show yourself.
I'm glad show
yourself self-care. Don't use it in the tree.
I'm glad they can't throw dude wipes up into that tree. That could be tough.
Those are valuable. Those
are valuable.
Yeah.
Real valuable. Yeah. You better believe it. All right. Chris the Bammer is chomping at the bit yet again.
Oh my gosh, Chris. Please, Chris.
He is anxious to see what's next on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel, and Gern's got it loaded there at network control. All right, spin it. Let's see what we got. And it ends on, how about this? Flag football. Flag football. Barry, do you realize that at the Alabama High School Athletic Association, they have flag football for the ladies, and it will be a part of the high school football playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have a lot of flag football. I understand it is growing around the state of Alabama. Glad to see that. It'll be a part of the full 7. Do they still call it the Super 7? I guess.
It's the Super 7. Yeah. It's part of it. Big first round of the AHSAA playoffs got underway earlier this week. The first round won't wrap up till Tuesday. Vestavia Hills was the runner-up last year. They win at home in their matchup and covered.
Yes. Did they?
I think it was the total, but yeah. So they that's a thing now.
It is.
Gosh, I was talking with a buddy of mine who's the high school Central High School Phoenix City. Okay. They have got a butt kicking team. I mean, they've got a quarterback who might be better than Peyton they've got a really good quarterback. Some of those young ladies can get after it. I'm telling you, my niece Ryan out in Hermosa Beach, California, she's a wide receiver and linebacker for Miracosta High School. She's a sweet, beautiful, lovely girl and everything, but she don't mess around on the football field.
Oh yeah, Barry, I've seen some of these girls,
with the
and they're physical. Don't let the flag part fool you.
Yeah,
they can give them a bump and a push and a little elbow and. Maybe going after that flag, a little push to the ground. I mean, I've seen it. I like it. The ladies can get a little physical out there with the flag football. Not condoning it.
No,
maybe I am. But it is fun to watch. I'm glad it's part of the high school action as well. And, Barry, our Special Olympians participate at the Super 7 as well. They have a game before everything gets started there as well. And our Special Olympians have picked up on flag football as well as one of the sports that they compete in. So that's always a lot of fun as well. So glad to see that. I just kind of wanted to throw that in there because I've seen a lot of that being talked about around the state. And you're right, Barry. I mean, I think it started with like 4 teams, and it has grown all over the state.
It is a thing, no question, no doubt. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Special guest coming up on Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Hi, this is Benji with Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, this is the time to shop. The holidays will be here before you know it. Our cases are slam full, so take advantage and lay away for Christmas now. We have a full repair shop and design shop. So if you dream it, we can make it for her. And if you need any repairs, we have an in-house master jeweler. At Marguerite's, we make it. We really make it. At Marguerite's, we are open 7 days a week. Come see us at the Preparatory Shopping Center, 8163 Vaughn Road, Montgomery, Alabama, right by Chappie's.
Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry, serving the River region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the River region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here on this Wednesday. We got a guest going to hop on with us here in a moment about a big event that is happening here in the capital city.
Yeah, here's a little public service. If you are a sensitive,
sorry, didn't mean to
if you have maybe excess sensitivity or something, and I like to think I'm a sensitive guy. Might want to stay off Twitter today.
Yeah.
Might just want to swear off for 24 hours.
Might want to.
That might be the thing. Yeah.
Ty wanted to know about a brush with greatness with Joe Scarborough. I think he's a media member, political, maybe. I think he's on MSNBC. Ty, I don't know if I've actually spoken to Joe. I think he had a son that went to Alabama that actually was in the same fraternity that I was in. Of course, I was there 40 years before his son arrived. I think I'm on the right page, but Joe was in the front yard of the fraternity house before a football game one day. I don't know if I actually said hello to him. Somebody pointed him out to me, Ty. I wouldn't say hello to him today on a bet.
Maybe I should know this and everything, but if all I've got for this conversation is if Joe Scarborough was standing right in front of me right here, I would not know who he is. I would not recognize him.
He does a show called Morning Joe on one of those news. Maybe it's MSNBC or something.
Oh, I have heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
He and his wife's his co-host, and they kind of go back and forth and say nasty things about Trump. So that's probably why I wouldn't speak to him.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway,
right.
I've seen him, but I've not met him. But Barry, who was the New York Yankee? And I think I took a picture of him. He was actually at my fraternity house before a game years ago.
Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod, yes.
Yeah, Alex Rodriguez. You're like, hey, man.
So the story
how's J-Lo doing? You know,
the girl he was dating was the house mother of my fraternity. Yeah.
Are you telling me Alex Rodriguez, multimillionaire, handsome baseball star?
Yep.
Jennifer Lopez on the house mother at the Sigma Newhouse on the University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa.
Correct. A-Rod is there. We're taking pictures. Everybody's going, wow, why's A-Rod here?
Dating the house mother. House mother's my experience.
The house mother's daughter.
Okay.
It was the house mother's daughter.
Because the house mother always looks like the house mother on Gimme a Break, or what's the one with Tootie and you know no.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the story. Of course, when I was in school, Barry, our house mother would go, "Hey, honey, will you walk across the street and give me a bottle of vodka?" "Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll be happy to." "Oh, while you're at it, will you give me a pack of Marlboro Lights too?" "Oh, yes, ma'am. We'll take care of it."
Yeah, I cannot wait till I'm not a new boy anymore. Good gracious. So
yeah, we appreciate that in the chat room. Now I wouldn't call A-Rod, I think, was a brush with greatness, because I actually took a picture. Joe Scarborough, definitely not a brush with greatness there. Ty. Joe says Blair. Yeah, Blair was one of the characters on that show.
Blair, yeah. On you had Blair, you had Tootie. I'm drawing a blank. It's not Gimme a Break. It's like House Pains or something. I don't know. It's been a long time ago here.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
All right, as we try to get our next guest loaded up, she's letting me know she's having just a little trouble with her connection. We'll get that taken care of. But as we do that and get ready for that, there's several other topics on the Dreamland 777 topic wheel we have yet to get to. And let's go ahead and spin it. And it is college football 12. That is the 12 teams that last night were revealed in the playoff if it started this week. Alabama would travel. They would be on the road at Texas if it plays out like that. What do you think about Bama at Texas?
I like it. Now, the playoff rankings came out, but that's not always that's not what it's going to be.
Correct.
When the brackets come out, because the top 4 seeds will all be conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Miami 4. Those are the ones they project to win the conference championships. But other than that, you've still got to have a group of 5 in there, and right now they do. Texas 5, Penn State 6, Tennessee 7, Indiana 8. Which is way too low. BYU 9, Notre Dame 10, Alabama 11. It's like Stephen M. Smith says, they're in. Boise State is number 12.
And I thought the Penn State Notre Dame matchup, that's kind of unique. I kind of like that one. That'd be kind of cool. Bama Tech. My thing, Barry, I don't, and I know it's going to happen, but playing a conference opponent in the playoff, particularly early.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I got to get used to that. I mean, I'm not overly thrilled with that, but hey, I think people will take what they can get. And if Bama wins out, maybe has some help from some other teams ahead of them, they might possibly host a game. And that leads me to my next thing, Barry. I've talked to several people that have already gotten information from the University
of Alabama Just so
athletic
you
department
know. Yeah.
that letting them know what ticket prices are going to be. So one gentleman I talked to when I was at the Missouri game tells me that his tickets are $500 a piece for a home playoff game.
See, but that's the thing. It is technically not going to be a home game. Technically, it's not going to be a University of Alabama with all that stuff. I think they're going to have to cover up all of the signage and put college football playoff signage. The tickets are not going to be Alabama tickets. You're going to have, obviously they're going to spray paint the logo in the corners and everything. It ain't going to be an Alabama game. It's going to be, technically, it's not going to be an Alabama presentation. It'll be a college football playoff presentation, just like it would if it was a neutral
end zones won't have Alabama in the end zones?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Any of that, any reference at all to Alabama's corporate partners or, Roll Tide this or championship banners or whatever, not going to have them when Alabama hosts Texas.
So, and so another guy, his tickets are on about the 25, 30-yard line. His tickets are $250 a piece. But that's interesting. I did not realize that. I thought that the home teams were just hosting and doing it like they normally do. That's going to be real interesting if, in fact, or when Bama Auburn hosts a playoff game and the field looks, got an NCAA logo or whatever, college football playoff logo in the middle. The end zones are different. They're not playing Dixieland Delight, which could be a good thing. I'd be in favor of that.
No elephant roar,
Yeah. No Bryant video 20 minutes before kickoff.
None of that.
I'm liking this more and more and more. It's similar to liking presentations by the Alabama Dance Theater. Kate Seals Smith is joining us here today, and we always like to have a little culture mixed in with our audience to let them know it's more than just sports. And Barry, their presentation of A Christmas Carol is coming up, and Kate is here to tell us all about it. Hey, Kate, good morning. What's going on?
Hey, good morning.
You are, of course, one of our favorites. The Alabama Dance Theater, one of our favorites. And this has snuck up on me, Kate. There's a big Christmas presentation that starts tomorrow, right?
Yes, actually, we have our Hometown Heroes performance tonight.
Okay.
So it's a free performance for military, active and retired, our first responders, healthcare providers, and educators. So it's a free performance and their families. So we love this performance. It's actually our 19th year honoring our heroes.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
So if any police officer, firefighter, first responder, can they just come tonight?
They can just come.
Just show
With their ID. And their families, and the kids are ready to perform for them.
The Christmas Carol is always one of the hallmarks of any Christmas season, and certainly it is in the Christmas season. As far as live performances go, Alabama Dance Theater over at the Davis Theater of the Performing Arts downtown. Tell us a little bit about this production.
So we have not done A Christmas Carol since 2011. It's just it's a fun story. It's a lot of emotions. It's you walk through this journey with Ebenezer Scrooge. And I think the neat part is any person watching can relate to the story of where are you in your past and your present and your future. And the music and the scenery and the lighting, it ends happy. So it's been really fun putting it together, and the kids are really getting into it.
Well, I can imagine that they are. And of course, kind of gets them ready for the Christmas season. And they're thinking of, Santa's arrival and things like that. So it is a beautiful performance. I've certainly seen it before. And let our viewers and our listeners, Kate, know where they can get their tickets, where the performances will be, just everything they need to know for them to be able to enjoy a Christmas Carol that's being presented this weekend.
Okay, we open tomorrow night at 7:00. It's at the Davis Theater. We have a Saturday matinee 2:00 show and a Sunday 2:00 show. If you go to alabamadancetheater.com, you can get your tickets on our website. You can also come to the box office the day of the show. If there's tickets, you better hurry and purchase tickets there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the company, about the performers.
Yep.
Well, we have there's I think over 70 kids in this performance.
Awesome.
It's a large cast. We have, I think, over 40 kids from our children's auditions from the community that are in it, and we have over 35 of our company kids, and then we have 2 guest artists that are amazing, and it's been really fun. It's been a lot of hard work and a lot of late nights, and it's time for them to shine on stage. So I hope everyone comes.
You know, Barry, with our new venture and getting everything put together, I had to pass on being the Nutcracker again this year, but I'm still holding you to it, Kate. I mean, if you can find me some tights,
I have your tights.
Yeah.
Now I know where to find you. But you know what? My son, Bennett, is in it. My senior, graduating senior. He's a Scrooge double.
Yeah.
The mystery of theater and how we make things work. But
tell me a little bit about the history of the Alabama Dance Theater. You've been integrally involved. It has been a real point of light, a real point of pride for Central Alabama now, Kate, for a pretty long time.
So we're in our 38th season, and our goal is to train and to educate and to provide opportunities for children to do whatever they want and with their life and many different styles of dance. So we love it. We start at age 3 and go through high school and beyond.
Kate, I know you couldn't do this without your great sponsors. You got a lot of people helping out what you do. Let our viewers and listeners know all the great people that make this a reality.
I will. We are very grateful for our sponsors. We have Central Alabama Community Foundation, Charles W. Jenwright, Montgomery City Council, District 9, Porch Band of Creek Indians, Hyundai Motor Manufacturing Alabama, Baptist Health, WSFA, Montgomery Advertiser, and Montgomery County Commission, the Alabama State Council on the Arts, and the National Endowment for the Arts, and our great city of Montgomery Department of Cultural Affairs.
Yeah, plenty of people that are helping to make these shows a reality. To find out more about how you can be a sponsor, to find out more about the season that they're currently in the middle of, or to purchase tickets for the start of A Christmas Carol, it's alabamadancetheater.com. Make sure you're in there. Kate Smith joins us. Kate, thank you so much for the time. It's a pleasure.
Can I mention one more thing? Saturday, after the matinees on Saturday and Sunday, the kids can come on stage and take a picture with Santa. We have Santa Claus is coming from the North Pole, and I've spoken to him, and he is awesome. They don't want to miss it.
Fantastic.
It's awesome.
Yes, that is great. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. That is great, Kate. I mean,
John, you can come sit on Santa's lap too.
I don't know. I'm thinking sack of coal myself.
Yeah.
Shoot your shot, John. I don't know. You got no in your pocket.
I've been a bad boy this year, Kate.
Yeah.
I'm not
you still have time.
That's right. Year's not over. You're exactly
I think you need to come watch The Christmas Carol.
Oh, everybody does.
Yes.
Everybody does. Tickets available, alabamadancetheater.com. Kate's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
you so much, Kate. Great stuff. We really appreciate that. Kate Seal Smith from the Alabama Dance Theater. I'm telling you, Barry, they do a fantastic job, and you'll walk out of that performance thinking, I'm in Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh,
it is incredible. They do a great job.
It's a real source of pride. It's Davis Theater for the Performing Arts downtown, which is part of the Troy University campus in Montgomery. It's a beautiful place. I've been there before, really supporting the arts, not just Troy University and the city of Montgomery, but all throughout the river region. Again, It's spelled not like a lot of you would spell it. It's Alabama Dance Theater with an R-E at the end rather than an E-R. It's not theater. It's alabamadancetheater.com. Find out more about A Christmas Carol, which has their special advance showing tonight for first responders, members of the military, and their families as well.
Right.
Final break here.
That's right.
And we're going to hit the wheel. It's coming up. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car or a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram in Prattville is a process that should always start with your team of professionals on your side. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it is safe to say that Stivers Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But don't just take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where Price sells cars and trucks. Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, simulcast Thoroughbred, and Greyhound Racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Longshore at McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And our good friends at Yellow Hammer News, great to be partnered up with them. Barry, I think it's Ladies' Day today on the second hour of the program because Mary Ann from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is hopping on with us today to tell us what's going on out at Marguerite's this week. How you doing, Mary Ann?
Hey, doing good, guys. How are you?
Doing well. Why is all of our chatters saying all of a sudden we're a lot easier to watch? I don't. What is that supposed to mean? Mary Ann. Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. We are in November now.
Yep.
It's starting to be that run up, and Marguerite's. Here's one of the things I want to. Mary Ann has been helping me with my shopping, my gift shopping for a long time. And Mary Ann, it's never too early to start talking about holiday shopping for Christmas. Right now is a perfect time. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. As you can see, flipping myself crazy. At Marguerite's, we're here. We're ready for the holidays.
Sure.
Everything in the background up here. Whoa, I'm really not great at that. Okay. Anywho's, we have holiday decorations, and you can tell I'm not used to this new iPad, but yeah, it's great at Marguerite's. It's never too early to start thinking about the holidays. We have a 75% off case that I'm now leaning up against. It's our estate case. So many great pieces. And people are like, oh, well, when will this sell? Well, the thing about the estate case is once you put it, once it sells, it's gone. Because that's the great thing about it is there's so many different options there and just lots of great pieces and never too early to think about the holidays.
Well, you're right about that, Marianne, because it'll be here before you know it. So go ahead and shop early. I mean, Marguerite's makes it so easy. Not only do you have so many wonderful, beautiful jewelry items, you've got them, necklaces, rings, bracelets, you name it, you've got it. And of course, layaway for Christmas. So many great options. And then, of course, your hours of operation, you're open every day.
Every day, 7 days a week, we are open. Now is a great time for layaway, putting 10% down. Just so many ways to make holiday shopping easy. Just pay a little bit as you go. Stay tuned to definitely listen to Longshore and McKnight's podcast, because we're going to be unveiling some great holiday specials coming up maybe in the next couple of days. We haven't released it yet, so be the first to know. 7 days a week, we're going to be extending our hours next week. Again, stay tuned and listen to Longshore and McKnight, because you're going to hear it here first, even before I put it on social media. So again, it's hard to believe, but the holidays are here, guys. So don't make it hard on yourself. Come in. We're happy to help you. And as always, like we say every time, we really do make it if you want custom things, and we'll wrap it for you as well.
It's beautiful stuff. Marianne, thank you so much. Marguerite's at the corner of, at the intersection right next to Chappie's Deli, Pepper Tree, Vaughn and Taylor Road. Looking forward to talking with you again as we get ready for the real crunch time. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. Exciting times at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree, open 7 days a week.
How about Longshore and McKnight breaking news? I like that.
Finding out more. All the scoop. That's exactly right.
All right. Do we have anything left?
I think we do, Barry. We got one more topic on the Victorland 777 topic. We'll just go ahead and spin it for funsies.
Yeah, just for the heck of it.
You know what it's going to be. Yep. All right. How you like this little way I came up with Auburn basketball? We're calling
Bruce Ball.
Bruce Ball. Auburn, I believe, Barry, opens up the regular season tonight
against the Vermont Catamounts, who came in. I think they got a $95,000 paycheck to beat UAB by 5 earlier. Auburn, they have expectations.
They do.
They're an 11-point favorite. They got a lot of really good freshmen. They've got an All-American in Janai Broom in the middle. They come in as preseason number 11 in the country. They're preseason pick second in the SEC. Should be an interesting year. It's on the SEC network tonight, 7 o'clock. Auburn is a 16.5-point favorite in that game. So you hope they get off to a good start, and then it gets even that much more difficult for Auburn. They've got a difficult preseason. They have Houston at this tournament in Houston Saturday. Later on at Iowa State, who's number 5, Duke. I think that's in Atlanta, Ohio State, Purdue. So before they get started with SEC play, they will be tested. It should be interesting.
So is Auburn not getting the love they should be? Is Alabama kind of taking some of their thunder? Because I mean a lot about the Tide, but I mean, I'm not hearing as much about Auburn. And Barry, dadgummit, I don't like it. I don't think it's fair.
Well, I will tell you this. If Auburn's not getting the love, if they're getting overrun by all of this Alabama adoration, it's familiar. Auburn fans, it's not like Auburn fans are like, wait a minute, what is this? They're kind of used to it a little bit. And, number 11 preseason is not exactly, nobody's giving them any respect. But Auburn traditionally, in their sports programs, traditionally prefers not to have high expectations prior to the year.
True. They usually don't live up to them. You're right about that. Curtis agrees with me. Auburn's not getting any love. But, Curtis, you've been listening and watching Longshore and McKnight for years. I'm here to take up for Auburn. I mean, let the record show. I have taken up for Auburn so many times over the years, and I'm taking up for them now. I know Alabama's got a good team, or at least we're led to believe they do. Very deep, but, I think Auburn's got a good little team over there too. They need some love.
Oh, ruffle their hair again. No, you're doing fine. Good for you. Good for you. Oh, that makes me want to throw up.
No, Chris,
all of
no
that
more
happens.
spins today. We have exhausted the topic wheel for today. But you know what, Chris? We're going to be back tomorrow, and we're going to have some more topics on the Victorland 777 topic wheel for you.
And guess what? We're going to spin it without you telling us to spin it. It's going to be great. Many thanks for starting off the show. We finally figured out a way to get Mike Griffith of Dog Nation out of his shell. He's finally, we get him to where he'll talk a little bit on the program. Likewise, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama. Kate Smith from the Alabama Dance Theater, brought to you by our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Let's do it again tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, let's do it. Jason Caldwell,
Yep.
Auburn Undercover. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. We know those guys are going to hop on with us tomorrow, but heck, you never know who else might be a part of the show. That's why you got to watch and listen every day, and make sure to check us out on Yellow Hammer News. They drop something about Longshore McKnight each and every afternoon, so be on the lookout for that.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Longshore and McKnight is presented by Bud Light.